In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God. Amen. My dear child, there are two people who hold you in their heart in ways you cannot fully measure or understand. Yet one of them is carrying something hidden, a truth that has the potential to shift your entire emotional world if it ever comes to light. Do not scroll away from this message. Stay with it until the end, because what you are meant to understand is unfolding step by step. Something significant is drawing closer to your life right now, and you need to hear this with full attention. One of these individuals thinks about you constantly, especially at night when the world becomes quiet. In those moments, your name rises in their thoughts like a silent prayer. Their care for you is steady, almost like an unspoken devotion, and everything they feel is deeply tied to your well-being. You remain present in their mind more often than you realize. The second person also feels something strong for you, something they cannot easily deny or ignore. But their emotions are wrapped in secrecy. There is something they are holding back, something they are not ready to reveal. Yet whenever they see your presence, your energy, or even hear your name, something inside them reacts deeply, almost uncontrollably. And deep down, they understand that the moment the truth comes out, everything between you will shift in ways that cannot be reversed. You may have already felt it yourself, that strange inner awareness, as if two different emotional forces are moving around your life. One feels calm, familiar, safe, and deeply comforting. The other feels intense, magnetic, and emotionally overwhelming, almost disrupting your peace, yet still impossible to ignore. This is not random. Your inner intuition has been picking up on these contrasts. It may feel like you have known these energies before, as if they have been connected to your journey longer than this present moment. One of them carries a sense of purity and protection, as though it is aligned with peace and emotional safety. The other carries weight, complexity, and something unfinished, something unspoken that lingers beneath the surface. One of these souls quietly wishes for your happiness in a sincere way, even without expressing it openly. The other hides behind calm behavior, while carrying a truth that presses heavily within them. Both of them feel something real for you, but the nature of that love is not the same. One connection is rooted in genuine care that feels stable and protective. The other is mixed with fear, hesitation, and emotions that were never fully resolved. What you see on the surface may not match what is happening underneath. One person may appear loyal and steady, but inside they are struggling with something they have not confessed yet. You might have noticed changes in your dreams or your emotional state recently. Perhaps you wake up with the feeling that someone was close to you, or that your name was softly called in the silence of the night. This is your subconscious trying to process emotional energies you are connected to. One presence brings calmness and reassurance. The other brings confusion, emotional disturbance, and uncertainty. Now the message for you is to see things more clearly, instead of being pulled in different directions. There is a moment approaching in your life where hidden emotions and unspoken truths will begin to surface naturally. It will not come through force, but through situations that reveal what has been hidden. The one who genuinely cares for you will bring you emotional peace when they speak, even if the conversation is simple. Their presence will feel grounding and sincere. The other person, the one carrying secrecy, will eventually show inconsistency in their words or actions. Something will slip through, and the truth they tried to hide will begin to surface without warning. You may already feel the emotional push and pull inside you. Moments of clarity followed by confusion, peace followed by doubt. This happens when two strong emotional connections are active in your life at the same time, both trying in their own way to remain close to you. But life does not always allow both paths to continue in the same direction. At some point, clarity chooses one direction over the other. There will come a moment when truth reveals itself without you forcing it. A conversation may happen unexpectedly, something simple at first, like a message or a sudden call, but within it you will sense what has been hidden. The one who carries the secret will struggle to maintain eye contact. Their words may not flow easily, and you will feel the weight of unspoken truth becoming harder to contain. This is not meant to disturb you. It is part of a natural unfolding where what is hidden can no longer remain hidden. Life has a way of removing masks without conflict when the time is right. You have been strong through emotional uncertainty, even when things were unclear. You have continued to give care, trust, and emotional presence even when answers were not fully visible. And now, this same energy you have given is beginning to return to you in the form of clarity and truth. The real difference between these two connections will become easier to see. One will show love in actions that feel safe, even if they are quiet or simple. The other will reveal emotions mixed with fear, hesitation, or inconsistency. One will bring peace into your nervous system. The other will continue to create emotional tension until everything becomes clear. When truth fully arrives, it will not destroy you. Instead, it will remove confusion that has been sitting in your heart for too long. It will feel like a mental and emotional fog slowly lifting, allowing you to breathe more freely and see things without distortion. At that point, your intuition will no longer feel divided. You will understand who brings genuine emotional stability into your life and who does not. And you will also understand why certain experiences had to happen before you reached this clarity. Do not resist what becomes obvious when it arrives. Do not hold on to confusion once clarity is shown. Sometimes life removes people not to punish you, but to guide you toward emotional peace that you could not access before. Something meaningful is waiting beyond this moment of truth. A phase of emotional stability, honesty, and peace that does not require guessing or emotional struggle. A connection that feels natural, steady, and aligned with your inner calm. What you are experiencing now is not just emotion passing through you. It is a transition between confusion and understanding, between emotional uncertainty and clarity that will eventually set you free internally. It is the flow of energy finding its natural alignment with your deeper purpose. At this moment, two different souls are still present around your life. One carries a calm, peaceful presence that feels steady and grounding. The other carries intensity, heavier, more complicated energy that is harder to fully understand. The peaceful one doesn't force itself into your space. Instead, it remains at a distance, quietly wishing the best for you, holding genuine concern for your safety, your growth, and your emotional balance. Their presence feels soft, almost like silence that doesn't disturb your inner world. The other one is closer. You see them, you talk to them, you feel their attention. On the surface, everything may seem warm, even comforting. But beneath that layer, there is something unsettled, something unspoken, a restlessness they are trying to keep under control, even while interacting with you naturally. And deep down, they already sense it too, that the truth they've been holding back cannot stay hidden forever. Not because of fear alone, but because timing itself is moving toward exposure. What has been covered is reaching its point of revelation. You are not imagining the mixed signals you have been feeling. There is a reason your emotions respond so differently depending on who connects with your energy. When one presence touches your life, you feel grounded, calm, almost as if your heart is settling into something stable and aligned. But when the other presence comes closer, your inner state shifts. Your thoughts become more active, your emotions less steady. Your intuition starts alerting you that something is off or incomplete. That inner voice is not confusion, it is awareness. It is your own wisdom trying to guide you toward clarity. Life often communicates through feelings before it ever reveals facts. Very soon, an unexpected moment will take place. Something small at first, an offhand sentence, a word spoken without preparation, a sudden silence where there should have been explanation. It may seem ordinary in the moment, but it will break through the surface and reveal what has been hidden underneath. And when it happens, you will clearly see the difference between honesty and disguise. Stay present with what unfolds, because truth does not always arrive in dramatic form. Sometimes it slips in quietly, through behavior, reactions, and timing that cannot be controlled. In your next interaction with them, you may already begin to notice this shift. One of them will feel open, simple, and sincere. No hidden layers, no hidden agenda, just presence that feels emotionally clean. The other may begin to adjust their behavior more carefully. They may try to manage how they appear, how they speak, how they are perceived. Not necessarily through obvious lies, but through subtle effort to maintain control over what is revealed. But at this stage, your perception is becoming sharper. You are no longer absorbing energy blindly. You are beginning to see beneath the surface without needing proof from words alone. What once felt like emotional confusion will slowly start transforming into clarity. And what once felt like emotional loss will begin to reveal itself as redirection. Because not everything that leaves your emotional space is a loss. Sometimes it is the removal of distortion. A conversation is approaching, not forced, not planned, but naturally unfolding. And in that moment, something will become unmistakably clear. The one who carries truth will not struggle to be seen. Their sincerity will feel effortless. Their presence will not create tension in your nervous system, it will calm it. They will not rely on performance or carefully chosen words. Instead, their truth will be reflected in their behavior, in their eyes, in the simplicity of how they show up. The other presence, however, will begin to feel the pressure of what they've been holding inside. Even if nothing is directly said at first, their energy will start revealing what words were trying to conceal. Subtle discomfort, hesitation, overthinking, small cracks that show the truth is no longer fully contained. And in that moment, you will understand something important. Love was never meant to confuse you or destabilize your peace. Real connection does not require constant decoding. As clarity enters your life, your emotional field will begin to change as well. You will feel less tension, less uncertainty, less internal conflict. Your energy will naturally begin attracting what aligns with peace instead of confusion. One connection will continue to expand through honesty and emotional consistency. The other will slowly lose its grip, not out of punishment or resentment, but because anything built on concealment cannot remain stable when truth becomes visible. This is not about loss, it is about alignment. Something more balanced is forming quietly in your life. A connection that does not require emotional guessing. A presence that does not disturb your peace just to keep attention. A bond that feels steady rather than uncertain. And as this unfolds, your spirit will begin to recognize the difference more clearly than ever before. One path feels like calm arrival, like returning home to yourself. The other feels like emotional effort that drains more than it gives back. And when your awareness fully settles into that understanding, your decisions will no longer come from confusion, but from clarity that feels natural and unforced. You are entering a phase where emotional truth becomes easier to see and harder to ignore. But the person who is hiding the truth will begin to feel it internally. Not always in obvious ways, but in subtle reactions. Over-explaining things that didn't need extra words, reacting too strongly to simple situations, trying harder than usual to appear normal. It happens because deep down, they can sense a shift. They feel that your awareness is changing, that something in you is no longer blindly accepting everything as before. Stay with this message. Don't rush past it. Very soon, you may receive an unexpected message or hear from them in a moment you didn't anticipate. It could come late at night or at a time when your thoughts are already connected to them. And when it arrives, it won't just be words on a screen. It will carry energy, intention, and emotional weight that you will immediately feel. Pay attention to how your body and heart respond after that interaction. If you feel lighter, calmer, more settled inside, that is a strong sign of alignment and honesty. If instead you feel uneasy, confused, or emotionally unsettled, that reaction itself becomes your answer. Your inner system recognizes truth faster than the mind can explain it. Life is beginning to reveal what was hidden for a long time. Do not turn away when clarity starts to appear. Stay present with what unfolds. You have already been through enough experiences to understand the difference between what is genuine and what is not. What you have lived through was never meant to make you guarded or closed off. It was meant to sharpen your perception, to help you recognize patterns, and to strengthen your inner wisdom. Now you are entering a stage where that wisdom becomes your strongest guidance. What is being revealed is not meant to harm you. It is meant to bring clarity. Because clarity always comes before peace. And once confusion leaves, a deeper calm begins to settle within you, one that is not easily disturbed by uncertainty anymore. When things begin to unfold, don't chase explanations. Don't force understanding. Don't try to hold on to situations that are naturally changing shape. What is real does not need pressure to stay. It remains steady on its own. And what is not aligned will eventually lose its place without you having to fight for it. At the same time, something more grounded is forming quietly in your life. A connection that does not create emotional chaos or inner conflict. A presence that feels consistent, calm, and emotionally safe. When you encounter it, you won't feel the need to decode it or question it repeatedly. You will simply feel at ease. That is the difference you are beginning to recognize more clearly now. You are moving into a phase where emotional confusion no longer has the same control over you, where your heart doesn't stay stuck between signals, but instead begins to lean naturally toward peace. And in that space, truth becomes easier to see. The one who is genuine will not create emotional instability around you. Their presence will not demand constant interpretation. Instead, it will feel simple, steady, and real. You will not feel like you are walking on uncertainty with them. The other connection, the one carrying hidden weight, will slowly begin to reveal itself through pressure, not from you, but from the burden of what they have been holding inside. Even when they try to appear calm, something will feel inconsistent over time. Not because you are searching for flaws, but because truth has a way of surfacing naturally when it is no longer contained. Pay attention not just to words, but to how you feel in their presence. Your emotional response is becoming your clearest guide. If confusion rises, if tension increases, if your inner peace feels disturbed repeatedly, that is information. And if calmness, clarity, and emotional ease increase, that is also information. You are learning to read energy more accurately now. Soon, situations will unfold that will make things more obvious without effort. A message, a conversation, a small moment of honesty slipping through unexpectedly. Nothing dramatic, but enough to reveal what was previously hidden. And when that happens, you will not need to force understanding. You will simply see it. And what you see will bring release, not pressure. Because truth, even when it feels uncomfortable at first, always creates space for peace afterward. You are stepping out of emotional guessing and into emotional clarity. And with that shift, your life begins to reorganize itself around what is real and what is not. One path will continue to feel heavy, uncertain, and mentally exhausting. The other will feel calm, natural, and emotionally steady. And over time, your spirit will stop struggling between them and begin to recognize where peace actually lives. That recognition is what changes everything. In the end, everything begins to settle into clarity. What once felt confusing, heavy, or emotionally uncertain slowly starts to make sense in a way that your mind could not fully understand before. You stop needing constant signs. You stop overanalyzing every word, every silence, every small change in behavior. Because something inside you matures through experience. You begin to recognize truth without needing it to be loudly explained. This is the quiet power of emotional awakening. It doesn't come with noise or drama. It comes with understanding. The connections in your life begin to reveal their real nature naturally. Not through force, not through confrontation, but through consistency, or the lack of it. One presence continues to feel grounded, simple, and emotionally steady. There is no confusion in how they show up, no emotional games, no shifting energy that leaves you questioning your own perception. Their presence feels like stability, even if it is not always loud or expressive. And then there is the other energy, the one that once kept your attention through intensity, unpredictability, and emotional highs and lows. Over time, it becomes clearer that intensity is not the same as depth, and attention is not the same as truth. What once felt like connection now begins to feel like emotional effort. Not because you were trying harder, but because something within the dynamic is no longer aligned. This is where understanding replaces attachment. You begin to see that real love does not create internal chaos. It does not make you constantly question your worth, your intuition, or your emotional stability. Real love brings a kind of quiet reassurance. It doesn't overwhelm your nervous system. It calms it. And this realization changes the way you move forward. You stop chasing clarity from people who cannot give it. You stop waiting for explanations that never fully arrive. You stop trying to fill in gaps that were never meant for you to carry. Instead, you start listening more closely to your own emotional truth. And for the first time, your inner voice becomes louder than your doubts. There may still be moments of reflection, moments where memories surface, where you think about what could have been different or what you misunderstood along the way. But even those thoughts begin to lose their emotional grip. They become lessons instead of wounds, because you finally understand something important. Not everything you felt was wrong, but not everything you felt was meant to stay. Some connections exist only to show you contrast. They show you what emotional instability feels like, so you can recognize emotional peace when it arrives. They show you confusion, so you can eventually value clarity. They show you intensity, so you can finally appreciate consistency. And once you learn that, you don't go back to old patterns the same way. Your perception changes. Your standards change. Your emotional tolerance changes. You no longer confuse uncertainty with depth, or distance with mystery, or inconsistency with complexity. You begin to see things as they are, not as you hoped they might be. Slowly, your energy shifts too. You stop pouring yourself into situations that drain you. You stop giving unlimited access to people who offer limited clarity. You start protecting your peace without guilt. And in that space, something very important happens. You begin to reconnect with yourself again. Because clarity in relationships always brings you back to clarity within yourself. You start feeling lighter, even if everything around you has not completely changed yet. That lightness is not because everything is perfect, but because you are no longer carrying confusion in your chest every day. You are no longer emotionally divided. You are no longer stuck between signals that contradict each other. Instead, you are grounded. And from that grounded place, you begin to see your life differently. What is meant for you does not require chasing. What is aligned with you does not create anxiety. What is real does not leave you constantly searching for proof. It simply exists in a steady, honest way. As time continues, certain people may naturally step back from your life. Not through conflict, but through natural distance. And others may become more clear in their intentions, showing you consistency where there was once doubt. You don't need to force either direction. Life organizes itself when you stop interfering with what is already unfolding. And that is where peace becomes your default state instead of confusion. You realize that emotional clarity is not about having all the answers at once. It is about no longer needing to struggle for them. It is about trusting what your inner awareness already knows, even before external confirmation arrives. At this stage, you are no longer the same person who needed constant reassurance. You are someone who can observe, understand, and choose without losing yourself in the process. And that is the real shift. Not in others, but in you. Because the final truth is this: your peace was never meant to depend on someone else finally being honest. Your peace was always meant to come from your ability to recognize what aligns with you and what does not. And once that recognition fully settles inside you, confusion loses its place completely. What remains is clarity, calmness, and a quiet understanding that whatever is truly meant for you will never require you to question your worth, your intuition, or your emotional stability. It will simply feel right.